Officials recover the bodies of the 3 crewmen trapped in the engine car of the Sunset Limited when it crashed.
I'm Amy Greer, live at the port of Chickasaw. Tonight, we'll finally hear from owners of the tugboat investigators believe may have caused the deadly crash of the Sunset Limited.
And a young girl is walking on clouds after breaking some sky-high records. Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Grimm.
And I'm Nancy Pierce. Action News 10 is coming up next.
Action News 10 is closed captioned for the deaf and hard of hearing.
Good evening. You're watching WALA Channel 10. First on the Gulf Coast, this is Action News 10 at 5 p.m. with Bob Grimm, Nancy Pierce, meteorologist Steve Bray, and Andrew Stockey with sports. Live, this is Action News 10.
The Sunset Limited's engine rests on solid ground after being submerged in 40 feet of water and mud.
And the jury reaches a verdict in the murder trial of Raymond Gadrosic. It may not be what you expected.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nancy Pierce.
And I'm Bob Gripp. The confirmed death toll in the Sunset Limited disaster stands at 47 tonight. 3 more victims were found when the train's lead locomotive was pulled from the bottom of Bayou Connor. Action News 10's Chris Schauble toured the crash site today. He joins us now live from the port of Chickasaw. Chris, what has the locomotive revealed?
Bob, it's revealed a lot. Besides the 3 bodies, officials expect to also find the event recorder. Now, it's been the subject of a search for the past 2 days. It's your first close look at what could be key evidence to unlocking questions about the crash. The 90-ton lead locomotive took 6 hours to raise because it was submerged in 30 to 40 feet of mud and water. Silt had to be washed out of the cab so investigators could locate the bodies and search for the event recorder.
The salvage operation has run fairly smoothly. We've had no major snags whatsoever. One advantage that we have here is the water depth itself. The water depth is about 20-25 feet, which allowed us to bring in all this heavy equipment that you do see here.
Amtrak officials say the nearly $3 million lead locomotive is less than 6 months old. Because the engine is new, it has a new event recorder designed to withstand blunt force and even water, a fact which gives Amtrak officials hope.
Hopefully they will have held up and give us everything from horn blowing to brake application to speed limit, and hopefully they'll come through.
Amtrak officials say there are still 2 locomotives and 3 railway cars still in the water. They'll be raised over the next 4 days. If and when the event recorder is found, it will be handed over to the National Transportation Safety Board. Bob?
Now, Chris, I know it's tough to put a price tag on all the damage, but have you heard any figures at all?
Yes, I have. Amtrak officials tell me that the damage to their cars and their train, $18 million. And the figure is going to climb. Of course, you can't put a price tag on the lies. Joining me now is Action News 10's Amy Greer. Amy, you did the investigation into the investigation.
That's right, Chris. And of course, the salvaging of that locomotive is going to be very key to the rest of this investigation. Again, as you mentioned, the all-important recorder of the final last minutes of the Sunset Limited. Now, Bob, this recorder is expected to contain a lot of information. The last speed, any final braking the crew was doing, the final radio transmissions, again, all the final moments of activity on board that train. We heard about this today at a news conference that ended just about 30 moments ago. That was when we also finally heard from a spokesman for Warrior and Gulf Navigation, this man right here, Andy Harris. That company, the towing company, admitting only 1 call. That call made by the towing company after they saw the train had hit the water, calling for help. Again, the company not admitting the Malvilla's other call, which the Coast Guard has been reporting that their barges had come loose and may have struck something. Again, the company saying they have not been able to investigate their own tugboat or speak to their own crewmen because of the federal investigation now ongoing. They say only that they do realize the tugboat was lost very early on Wednesday morning.
MV Malvilla was proceeding north, pushing barges, when it had encountered dense fog on the Mobile River. Instead of maintaining a course in the Mobile River, due to the fog, the vessel traveled a short distance up the Bayou Connor while attempting to tie off to the bank until the fog lifted.
Again, the company spokesman saying that because of the NTSB and FBI investigation. The barges and the tugboat have been impounded. They haven't had a chance to check them themselves. Them telling us also that most of the information they've been gathering has come from what they've seen on television and in the media. Bob?
Okay, Amy, what about the 4 employees? Are they still the members of the tug? Are they still working for the company?
Well, that was certainly a question. I tried to confront Andy Harris as he was leaving and tried to ask him whether or not these men were at work today. We had a report that the pilot who was on watch at the time was actually at Warrior and Gulf Navigation on duty today. He would not comment on their work status, whether they'd been given administrative leave or not. So again, we just don't know. We do understand, though, the company may be at the NTSB news conference and update tonight at 8 o'clock, and of course we will be there. Bob?
All right, thank you. Amy Greer reporting live. Nancy?
As you heard a few minutes ago, the last 3 bodies in the Amtrak crash have been recovered. According to the National Transportation Safety Board, the total death count is 47, with 163 survivors of the crash. 39 of the 47 casualties have been identified. 3 are from the Gulf Coast. Oscar and Rose Skelton from Pensacola, Florida, and Martha Kospelich from Long Beach, Mississippi, all died in the wreck.
Now, if you would like to help out, grab a pencil and paper. There's a new emergency relief fund tonight for the victims of Wednesday's Amtrak tragedy. Today, some local folks formed a committee to aid the persons and the families and agencies involved in the derailment. If you'd like to help, money's being collected at all AmSouth banks, or you can send a check made out to Mobile Emergency Relief Fund, care of AmSouth Bank, P.O. Drawer 1628, Mobile 36633. Those people in need of assistance from the fund should send a written request to Mobile Emergency Relief Fund, care of the City of Mobile, P.O. Box 1827, Mobile 36633. Most of the survivors of Wednesday's derailment have gone home, but the few who remain still have compelling stories to tell. Action News 10's Charles Johnson caught up with one of those folks who was about to leave the Adams Mark Hotel.
Sigmund Steinberg is checking out and heading home to Fort Lauderdale. He and his wife were on their way back from visiting their daughter in Los Angeles when the trip was cut short.
A hunk of steel went right through the side while I was sleeping up on the top, knocked me right out, and the glass began shattering, so I yelled to my wife, "Are you okay?" And she yelled to me, "Are you okay?" Well, I thought we were finished. There's no doubt about it that when this thing hit, we thought we were finished. Very scary, you know, like kids go to a moving picture, you know, and get a scary movie. This was a scary movie, but it was real. It wasn't fake.
Like many other folks who made it through the disaster, Steinberg has been staying at the Adams Mark Hotel. Today, many folks were getting ready to leave. Some with nothing but the clothes on their back and grim memories of early Wednesday morning. But while the accident was a terrible tragedy for everyone involved, Steinberg and others say their experience in Mobile since the mishap hasn't been bad at all.
I'm so grateful to the people of Mobile and the hospitality and their professional expertise in handling a very bad situation.
Really very nice. I'm sorry I had to meet Mobile this way, but I hope next time I come through, we're going to stay here and say hello to some of the people.
In Mobile, Charles Johnson, Action News 10.
Steinberg says this was the 9th consecutive year that he and his wife have made their cross-country journey. He says next year, they'll probably fly.
Despite the tragic accident, Amtrak train service along the Gulf Coast resumed today. At 5:50 this morning, a passenger train pulled out of the Pensacola depot on its way to Miami. Passengers not involved in the crash, but who were taking the Sunset Limited line from Los Angeles to Miami, boarded buses in New Orleans last night to continue their journey from the Pensacola depot. Now, one of those buses stopped at regular Amtrak destinations in both Mississippi and Alabama to pick up other passengers. And here in Mobile, folks boarded a bus bound for Birmingham to catch the Gulf Breeze passenger train, which runs from Washington and New York to Mobile. Actual train service from Mobile to Birmingham will be suspended for about 2 weeks, or until the debris from the Sunset Limited is clear and the bridge is fixed.
Now, as far as people being scared away from rail travel after Wednesday's disaster, Amtrak officials say ticket sales are going strong, but they have had a number of cancellations. They have no idea yet about the long-term effect on ticket sales. Still to come on Action News 10 at 5 p.m., a surprising end to the murder trial of Raymond Gadrozich. Coming up, we'll tell you why.
And HealthWise shows us how insomnia can be linked to your overall physical fitness.
Now, Action News 10 at 5 p.m. continues.
It's a not guilty, And a guilty verdict in the murder trial of Raymond Jadrosich. Testimony began Tuesday. Jury deliberations got underway yesterday and wrapped up late this afternoon. The jury found him not guilty by reason of insanity to killing his wife, but guilty to killing his mother-in-law. It was slow going this morning at the courthouse. 6 of the jurors showed up with flu-like symptoms, but proceeded with the deliberations. Baldwin County DA David Whetstone has asked that Jadrosich get a life sentence.
Here's an update on this week's hostage-taking at a department store in Enterprise, Alabama, where both the hostage and the suspect were killed. State investigators now say the shot that killed the 18-year-old hostage came from a police sharpshooter. Another shot fired by police struck and killed the suspect. The Azalea Nursing Center may be forced to close its doors. The Alabama Department of Public Health revoked the nursing home's operating license. Controversy has surrounded the center after an elderly man jumped out of a 3rd-story window to his death. The center also faces a series of patient care violations. A hearing on the center's operating status is scheduled for October 26th.
Many elderly people don't sleep well at night. Now, some have assumed insomnia was simply a part of the aging process. Well, several studies have already shown a link between physical fitness and sleeping well. But as we find out in tonight's HealthWise report, only one study has been done on elderly men. Casper Holroyd has been running for more than 30 years. He says he looks and feels better when he exercises. To him, it's a life-affirming ritual.
There's absolutely nothing more important than exercise. I mean, seriously, there's nothing more important.
Now researchers in North Carolina say exercise may have a profound impact on sleep. They believe elderly men who are physically fit sleep better than those who are sedentary.
And swing, swing.
Miriam Morey leads an exercise class for the elderly. She helped conduct the sleep study.
You have improvement in well-being, sleep quality. Just the benefits are just untold, and it beats taking pills.
Perhaps more important, regular exercise seems to improve the quality of sleep.
They fell asleep in about half the time, were awake much less time during the night, and had much deeper sleep than did the sedentary folks.
Meanwhile, Casper Holroyd now logs 100 miles a week, 1 marathon a year. He started exercising long before it was fashionable. He says science is finally catching up to a plain old common sense.
It's a continuous thing, just like breathing of the air. It's just as important to run as it is to breathe or eat.
Now, one day, doctors might prescribe exercise instead of sleeping pills for the elderly in some cases. But first, researchers want to confirm what they already suspect, that getting in shape will also improve the quality of sleep. And if you'd like more information, send a self-addressed stamped envelope to HealthWise, Action News 10, Post Office Box 1548, Mobile, Alabama 36633. And you can also call the Action News 10 info line at 770-WALA. The info line provides other health information 24 hours a day. Well, absolutely no complaints in the sunshine we've had this week.
But how about the weekend weather? More sunshine?
It doesn't look like we're going to see more sunshine. A few more clouds will be in here in the weekend because the humidity is picking up. And with the warm temperatures we've had, and those are going to stay with us over the weekend, it's going to feel kind of hot and sticky. But more sunshine. We'll give you that. Looks like we'll check out the forecast, too, next on Action News 10.
HealthWise is sponsored by the University of South Alabama Hospitals.
Another beautiful sunny day along the Gulf Coast, and the clouds have been trying to creep in, but they have been held up. Let's show you what I mean. Satellite picture from yesterday, a few clouds up to the north of us. That's where most of the showers and thunderstorms have been over the last 48 hours or so. Watch how the thunderstorms stay up there, drop down a little bit, but they're kept well to the north of us. That's because we've got high pressure right along the Gulf Coast, and that's keeping all the activity up north, and that's the way it's going to stay, it looks like, for the most part during the weekend. Stalled out frontal system is just up across Tennessee right now. High pressure along the Gulf Coast will keep us clear throughout the night tonight, but we're seeing a little bit more moisture flow back into the atmosphere, so the humidity is going up, and that's also going to help keep up the low temperatures overnight. So we have been in the 60s, it looks like we'll be in the 70s during the nighttime hours tonight. During the day tomorrow, that frontal system will be on the move, but it's still going to be to the north of us. High pressure will be over the Gulf Coast, so keeping us still rather dry. Maybe a few more clouds because of that extra moisture. This cold front out to the west isn't going to make it quite here because it's going to be overtaken by the cold front that's across the northern part of the country. By Sunday, that one's going to drop all the way down to the south. The one to the north of us is going to stall out, so basically it's just going to become one big mess up to the north and west of us. May see a couple of isolated showers by Sunday afternoon, some of those pop-up thunderstorms, but more likely we'll get the rain on Monday and Tuesday when this frontal system moves in. So look for the rain Monday and Tuesday. Over the weekend, maybe a chance of showers on Sunday. Other than that, just partly cloudy skies. 93 in Mobile for the high today. 93 also Fort Walton Beach. Pensacola topped that at 95 degrees, and that breaks a record, new record at 95. Temperatures for lows, as you can see in northwest Florida, in the 60s, with 72 Mobile and 73 in Pascagoula. Right now, it's hot. 92 in Mobile, 94 in Monroeville, 93 Leakesville, 90 in Pascagoula and Pensacola right now. For the rest of the night, though, it will cool off, just not as cool as it has been. Down to about 70 to 75 degrees along the area tonight. A little bit warmer than it has been. Clear skies, though, and tomorrow we'll see clear to partly cloudy skies and warm once again. 89 at the beach to around 94 degrees in the inland areas. Could possibly be up to 95 once again. Southwest wind tomorrow 5 to 10 miles an hour. Our weather picture for today. This one showing some rain showers coming down on some bunnies. It's from Beth Reddit. She's in the 5th grade. Pretty picture there. That's a great picture. Pretty weather too.
Bunnies.
Yeah, bunnies.
I like it.
Bunnies. Lots of bunnies.
Bunnies don't like the rain.
Well, they are. They multiply.
Well, I know. They're multiplying. That's how you learn your times tables when you're in school.
Well, we learned about some great football weather for this evening, thanks to Steve.
And plenty of football.
Great
Tonight,
game.
tomorrow, every night.
Hey, great games everywhere you turn, including a game in Auburn where the operative word, is eagle. We'll talk about that. We'll try to get untongue-tied in just a moment. It's the final football weekend in September, and Auburn, Alabama, and the New Orleans Saints can all finish the month with perfect marks, as you'll see in this weekend's football guide. It's Golden Eagle and War Eagle Saturday in Auburn. Southern Miss hits the Plains with a 500 mark, while the Tigers roar into Jordan Hare without a blemish.
We got to realize what got us here, and that's the little things, the working hard and you know, paying attention to the film and just studying the film, not just watching it, and that's the one thing that got us here.
And sure, a little bit of practice has helped to increase output on both sides of the ball, but having survived the stormy ending to last season has made an even bigger impact.
The team right now, we have a lot of confidence in one another, and it's all due to, I think, everybody believing in each other and the experience in the ball club, the learning how to deal with a lot of problems off field and coming together as a whole team.
And to Southern Miss fans, Tommy Waters' shoulder has him sidelined, so sophomore Tommy Bentley will start under center. Now, Alabama's 27th straight win seems certain with winless Louisiana Tech coming to town. While the Bulldogs have never scored on the Tide, a mighty defensive effort last year left a lasting impression.
And believe it or not, I got a thank you card from their defensive coordinator saying thank you so much for the publicity that you gave our defense last year. And I was like, you know, I guess I did talk about them a pretty good bit because they were really strong. And I think too, though, that you know, we made a lot of mistakes.
Sunday in San Francisco, the unbeaten Saints and their nemesis, the 49ers, battle for supremacy in the West. Two of the three best offenses in the NFL will take the field, but as is usually the case, defense will decide it.
And as long as you play good defense, you got a chance every week, I think. You got a chance. If you don't play good defense, I mean, unless you're just a great offensive team, you got problems. I don't care who you are.
You know, state football fans will also be watching the Troy State-Alabama State game in Montgomery, and the semi-pro Vipers will also try to go to 3-0 Saturday at 7:30 p.m. at Baker High School. Back to Auburn for a moment. Everyone has had a hand in their 3-0 start, including true freshman Willie Anderson. The guard from Vicar High was named Auburn's Lineman of the Week after his performance in a 34-10 win at LSU on Saturday. And tonight at Mobile Greyhound Park, the Tri-Super Pool closing in on $23,000. And Nancy, some sad news, if it is true. We've heard published reports that George Brett plans to announce his retirement tomorrow at 3 p.m. in Kansas City.
That will be sad for us George Brett fans, but what a player.
What a player. Hey, he has
career.
one world championship, more than Billy Williams can say, or Ernie Banks, or a lot of great players.
But you never know. He said he was quitting before.
He may come back.
That's right.
What a week. Nolan Ryan and
George Brett. Tell you, we're
Not
all
yet.
growing up.
Getting old.
Thanks, Andrew. And coming up, we'll tell you again how you can help the victims of Wednesday's tragedy.
And we'll meet a new record holder who earned her wings. Let's check in now with Dia Foster in the Action News 10 newsroom with a preview of the stories that are coming up on Action News 10 at 6 p.m. Dia?
Bob, coming up at 6 o'clock, we'll continue our team coverage on the Sunset Limited disaster. And we'll take you to Greek Fest 93. It's going on this evening at the Mobile Greek Orthodox Church. Those stories and much more coming up tonight at 6. Bob?
All right, thanks, Dia. Nancy?
Earlier, we told you about an emergency relief fund set up for Amtrak victims. Now, here are the addresses of those again. If you'd like to help out, you can send a check made out to the Mobile Emergency Relief Fund, care of AmSouth Bank, Post Office Drawer 1628, Mobile, Alabama 36633. Now, those people in need of assistance from the fund should send a written request to Mobile Emergency Relief Fund, care of City Mobile, Post Office Box 1827, Mobile, Alabama 36633. And if you'd like to help out, once again, let's give you those addresses again. If you can send a check made out to Mobile Emergency Relief Fund, care of AmSouth Bank, Post Office Drawer 1628, Mobile, Alabama 36633. And those who need assistance from the fund should send a written request to Mobile Emergency Relief Fund, care of the City of Mobile, Post Office Box 1827, Mobile, Alabama 36633. Well, it is a safe landing in the record books tonight.
And the record holder is only 11 years old. Sixth grader Vicki Van Meter is now the youngest female pilot ever to fly cross-country. Her voyage started in Maine on Monday and it ended with this graceful touchdown in San Diego last night. About 100 well-wishers turned out to congratulate the young pilot on her success.
And what's next for Vicki? Well, she's off to Houston next week to fly a simulated space capsule. Wow, that's great for an 11-year-old, or a 30-year-old, or 40-year-old. And that's it for Action News 10 at 5 p.m. Coming up next, NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw.
And stay with us.